You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Anna. I'm here with another one of your hosts, Paul, and we are here today mainly to talk about another year in gaming, which is really exciting because this time we are going to jump around again randomly into the year 1992 because we think it's a fun year.
Yes, and we just did zero foresight when we did the first one way back, and here we are. We're just making it work.
Definitely making it work. And we're going to get right deep into it. But before we do so, I just wanted to read off an email that was sent to us in regards to the last episode that we did on a game that clearly Paul and I have talked about a lot and finally did an episode on. The message is from Sean Sharp, and I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Sean Sharp, you people out there. I know that Paul, of course, you know who it is, but he is an art director. He did The Adventures of Willie Beamish, art director on Space Quest 5, so jumping into a bit of the Sierra work, Aces Over Europe. This is a guy who knows what he's doing. So he sent us an email that said, "Thanks for doing the show," which is cool. That means, I guess, he listens to us. So thanks, Sean, for listening to our show. It's always fun talking to folks that were fans or are still playing the games from back in the day. Willie was one of the first games I worked on, and it was a fun introduction to the game industry. Sean. And the lovely little follow-up on that is, let's see, it would sound like the plural of dynamic, so not Dynamix. Well, I can believe what I want in my heart. But okay, he said he's going to ask Jeff sometime why they settled on that for the name. So would love to hear if you found out why Jeff settled on that name. And I'd love to hear you share that back with us, Sean. Thank you so much for the email. And I hope to hear from you again soon with the answer.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, mate. Yeah, that was really cool to get a letter from him because he's obviously had a lot of influence over. I mean, I guess being the director of art, that's kind of, that is influence. That's like your job at that point, is to literally influence the direction of the art. But obviously had a lot of creative input on two of my absolute favorite games, which would be Space Quest 5 and Willie Beamish. So that's really cool. Thanks for writing, mate.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, back to 1992, it was a nice game. The boxes were again fully big and chunky as far as like the Sierra boxes and the ones I have next to me that I've dug out. So not a single one of the skinny ones left in the lot by this year, it would appear.
Okay, so the full chunk here. All right.
Yeah, full chunk.
So that tells us we're reaching peak adventure in this regard. Like, it's adventure games didn't know it, but they had about 3 years left.
Oh, poor things. I really do feel for them. That just as their egos were getting nice and fat and almost 3 inches thick, they got taken down a notch or two. And now, you guys, you go down and you buy a DVD case that has the latest and greatest PC game on it, and you bring it home and you crack it open, and there's like a bunch of numbers and a code, and you activate it online, and that's the end of looking at the case ever again.
Yeah, back in my day, game boxes weighed 8 pounds, and you had to walk them home in the snow.
That's right. I'm holding one in my hand, at least 8.5, and there's still a bit of snow damage on the corner. Hard to carry them without dropping them. But yeah, beside me, I've got 3 games that came out in that year, verified by the dates on the back, most likely. Yep, I've got Quest for Glory 3, King's Quest 6, and The Dagger of Amun-Ra, which is funny. They're all such different games, although they are all point and click by this time.
Yeah, no, they really are. It's weird because there's a lot of volume here. There's not a ton of like tremendously huge titles compared to the quantity. But what I'm kind of getting at is like arguably Sierra's biggest release and LucasArts came out in this year, and that's super. that's just like going to inspire arguing for me to declare their biggest games, because they're not at the same time. It's whatever you think they are. But I guess King's Quest VI is probably a little more fair to say like Sierra's biggest release, just because it's like their flagship title and kind of the what do you call it? The majority's favorite in the series, like the magnum opus, for Sierra, you'd look at King's Quest and then you'd be like, what's the best King's Quest? And it's 6. And then on the LucasArts side, you got Fate of Atlantis, which we've done an episode on before, just highlighting the game. If you want to check it out, buddy, do it. Or, just listen to a small little snippet here. But it's a lot of our discussion in that episode was how it was basically the perfect game. So maybe not their biggest release. I'm not really for that to say. I'm not a statistician or whatever, but yeah, they're two just powerhouse games.
Yeah,
I really wore myself up.
I said that took a little bit of effort, but it's true, but when you talk about Fate of Atlantis, most people are going to say, oh yeah, right on. If they've heard of it, they probably liked it. I mean, there's not a lot of people going around on the internet saying, oh man, what a shitty game that was.
That's true. Yeah. Nobody's out there trying to take that game down a notch. So
it's like maybe a puzzle you didn't like it here or there, like a maze or something, but no, it's fine. And King's Quest 6 too, I mean, you can't really complain. It's kind of a tricky game. If you mess up, like there's been a few times I've gotten to the point where I'm trying to deal with a nightingale and I have to restart because I've done some random thing in some random order and I'm completely soft locked out of going anywhere in the game and I don't know why. So King's Quest 6 is kind of a little bit of a tricky game. Same Dagger of Amun-Ra is not an easy game. It's actually it takes a while to play through, even if you know what you're doing. If you're paying attention and looking at clues, it's not an easy game. Out of all three, the ones I mentioned, I find Quest for Glory probably the easiest one of the three, although it has most depth of storyline.
So you think Quest for Glory 3 is easier than Fate of Atlantis?
No, just of the three I mentioned. I think Fate of
right.
Atlantis is probably easier than any of them. Just a little. I mean, smoother, right? A little less convoluted, different paths you can take, and a little bit more linear and straightforward.
Yeah. Or you just say what half the listeners are thinking, which is, of course, because it's not a Sierra game. It makes sense, And you know what? We'll give you that. That's fair enough. We love Sierra's imperfections too, but yeah, that's true. I'm not sure if I could say it's easier. Yeah, it is. It makes more sense because King's Quest 6 is. You could complain about King's Quest 6. You would be right to do so. It's a King's Quest game, and then Dagger of Amun-Ra is pretty fair for a Sierra game, but it's one of their hardest. So.
Yeah, pretty fair, but try finishing it well. I mean, yeah, you can finish it. Sure, you could totally finish the game. Like, I probably finished it on one of my first playthroughs too, but finish it well.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
And King's Quest 6, you just have to get to the end. Points or no points. Like, I never get full points anyways. But, if you can get to the end and not look at any hints, then, good for you. I think I played through this game without any hints, and I didn't get full points, but I'm sure there's points that, like I said, it does block you out a little bit if you do something in the wrong order. So it's not entirely holding your hand.
Right. Yeah. Well, all right. Here's a question for these let's say 4 games. So for Fate of Atlantis, King's Quest 6, Quest for Glory 3, and Dagger of Amun-Ra. Let's go down them real quick and go through like our favorite and then least favorite part of said game. Right. Just for fun, mix it up a bit. So for Fate of Atlantis, what's your favorite part of that game? What's your best memory of it?
Well, the fact that it was you could work with a girl. I didn't understand that maybe she didn't have the best attitude back in the day. I thought she was great. I thought it was really cool that you could switch between partners. Yeah,
that's a really good answer. And you came up with one really quickly, so I didn't have time to come up with my own. I would say the path thing, because by the time I played Atlantis, I was already obnoxious. I was already a fan of Gold Rush and obnoxiously vocal about it, even then. So like, I think I was waiting for another game to come out that would give me the path sort of, feeling that Gold Rush did. And this came along and took that and did it better, frankly. Because it's kind of 3 different games until you get to Atlantis, right? As far as I recall, I think from like the entrance of Atlantis itself onwards, it's back to the same game. But like the whole second act, you could play 3 different times, and it's completely different. Like the new background rooms, and like as a kid, like adventure games only have so many rooms. So like when you got to see like a new one that you didn't know was there, it was like a really big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like what? Especially after going through it and having to figure it out yourself too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 4 or 5 months later.
Well, okay, I did some thinking on that, and I knew. Okay, it's not that I didn't know there were 3 paths. It's that I understood that I could do it different ways, but that in my logic, it was, why would I want to do it any other way than the partner way? The other ones are probably just dumb ways anyways. Like, so I knew there was alternatives. I just didn't understand that they were all viable alternatives.
Ah, nice. That was so eloquent. Yeah. That's what I would have said if I could say it in good words, like you just done. Because and for me, I always picked the one that I thought was right. I didn't know that the game would diverge that much. I kind of thought it would just adventure game you into choosing the one they wanted you to. Where it's like the kind of like illusion of choice, and then in adventure games often, and you'll pick, oh, okay, well I'll just do this fighting, and then they just have like something like a joke. It's just like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I just kind of assumed that they would all funnel me down the same pipe. It's not a saying.
It's different for a little while, but essentially it's not going to make any difference anyways. And it's probably going to be the same in like 10 minutes anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. See, you'll be the sense-making host for this episode once again. That's lovely. The translator, if you will.
Well, my co-host Paul here has been getting some renovations done here and there, so I don't know if anybody knows what that's like, but it takes a significant portion of brain power and puts it over into that sort of thing. So I think you could be forgiven.
Thanks. Yeah, the fumes in my house right now are dangerous.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. I appreciate you explaining that.
Yeah, exactly. As eloquently as you might have. All right. So for Atlantis, we just kind of got done refreshing the listeners that we voted this like most likely to be a perfect game. So maybe we could both take a pass on this for Atlantis, but do you have a least favorite part?
I mean, forced arcade sequences. I always like it if I can bypass them if I'm just trying to play the game for whatever reason. So that's about it. And it's not really a hate because it's to be expected with the games anyways. So it's not a big deal. I guess I'll go with this is like such a dick thing to do because I don't know, this game doesn't deserve it. But if I just had to pick something, which I do because I said so, I told myself to, it's the sundial puzzle is the logic behind it's weird, and I feel like I'll just confuse everyone and myself by trying to explain it. Yeah.
But like the directional thing, it's because the problem is I don't actually remember the details enough to explain it like coherently. But like when they talk about north, it's like the stone has to stay facing the first direction it was in, and so like you assume that it means south, so you turn it. But look, I predicted this would happen. I'd find myself barely getting into it and confusing myself and everyone. Point is, the sundial thing was, it could have been better, maybe.
It's worthy of a YouTube video playthrough. Yeah, at least that section.
All right, so for King's Quest, what do you? This is kind of a larger menu. What's your least favorite part of King's Quest 6?
Least favorite part, again, it's kind of what I mentioned before, the fact that you can accidentally do things in the wrong order, but otherwise I kind of liked the game all the way through. Yeah,
no, I did too. My least favorite part, I think it's valid if not petty, but it would be the disappointment of seeing the Minotaur. Is it a Minotaur? He's got a bull head. It doesn't matter. He's so tiny. Like I don't know why they didn't make the sprite bigger. Like obviously they wouldn't have predicted what the box art would look like, which is just the greatest box art, man. That picture is just, encapsulates like I want to tuck into an adventure game. Like I want to be that guy fighting this bull. I don't even care. Just let's get into it. Let's figure that story out. But then you walk in the room and you see him for the first time, and he's like 3 pixels taller than than Alexander, and it's a bummer. It's a little bit of a bummer,
especially after all that maze, you know.
Yeah, that was quite an ordeal. Exactly, it really put us through a lot, and he's just a guy with a bullhead. He's not menacing. I don't know. So that was a bummer. All right, positive.
So, and I guess the Cliffs of Logic, because it's like, it's fine the first time you go through it and you go up and you're like, oh, this is kind of neat, and you got to look it up and you got to do it. But if you're doing any like subsequent playthroughs and you're like, oh man, I got to do it again. Right. I mean, it's not a huge deal at all, right? I mean, but maybe it was a little bit slower on old computers, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I could probably nitpick this one like kind of a lot, but I do really like it. It was yeah. So okay. And that's right. Speaking of positives, so what would be your favorite part of King's Quest?
Oh, mine. Well, I mean, I like the garden is cute, right? And the plants and the little dancing flowers, and I don't know, the chessboard amused me when I was younger, the whole concept. I mean, I know the guys were all snooty in that, but I like the idea. I kind of wish that you could have like had a chess-based game in it. But otherwise, yeah, it was cute. It was whimsical. It was fun. It was engaging. The characters were memorable. You know, the deal with the mint in the shop, you know, the glints in the eye, you know, reminiscent of Monkey Island in some ways, you know, it was a neat game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with the Land of the Dead. That was the art, primarily the art, but then also like the storyline wise, I feel like it was because I feel like it was like very Jane Jensen, the direction they took with Death himself and like giving him like emotions. Like it was just really well written. That part of the game specifically was really well done. So yeah, all right. And then, buddy, this is taking longer than I thought, so now I'm rushing us through it because there's so many more games. I'm sorry, everyone. We just did an episode on Dagger, so just listen to that, and we probably said something, you know, at least once during the episode. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Our answer to this question is on a previous episode. It's the teaser to get you to listen to that other episode.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, thank you for doing the sense thing again. Yes, this was all a ruse. Okay, I'm feeling like claustrophobically stuck on these games, so let's pick another one.
Well, we got one more because you haven't really played it, but I'm going to say Quest for Glory 3, and I'm going to say very quickly that the things I liked about Quest for Glory 3 is I had a place to put my import character from Quest for Glory 2, which is always extremely satisfying. And I learned how to play the game with the stones Awari, and that I learned how to play that. I liked the little monkey menu. I liked the fight sequences. I think it was a very pretty game. I was upset that you couldn't type in it, but I got over it. So, and what's something I didn't like about the game, well, I've said it before, I still wish there was more that Thief could have done. Yeah, I said it before, and I'm saying it again, and I still kind of do. Even if it builds up the storyline and it all makes sense and it's wonderful, I just wanted to break into more shit. So. Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's how I feel about Freddy Farkas. I just wanted to make more drugs. It was.
Yeah, me too. That was so much fun.
Yeah, it wasn't quite enough to mix. Okay. I know I just said that we got to get out of these games, but I just thought of a legit good question that I don't think I can answer, which is if you had to pick one of these two and use it as a game to get somebody who doesn't like adventure games into the genre, to convince them they're worth their time, would you pick Dagger of Amon-Ra or Fate of Atlantis?
Oh, Fate of Atlantis, yeah.
Okay, so you're going logical instead of emotional. I mean, that's where I'm at. Where like it's just, again, we called it a perfect game. You can't that would be pretty much. But it's just Dagger's just it's got a lot of problems though. As great as it is. All right.
I'm just okay. I'm trying to get my 10-year-old into games, and he's at home this year instead of going to regular school. So I'm like, okay, I want to pick an adventure game that he's going to be interested in and is not super hard and he's going to learn for it. Well, I picked Conquest of Camelot, which is a lovely game, but I realized as soon as it expanded into the world and he has to look at the map and he has to decide where to travel through and what to do, that it is not one of the easier Sierra games either, but I want to recommend it. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful game. And that's kind of how I feel. Do I give him that? Or do I say, hey, why don't you play VGA Quest for Glory 1 or something? I mean, how do I make that decision? Do I want to be practical and really get him into games? Or do I just want to force him to like the Conquest of Camelot because it's educational and it is a good game, but it's probably not a good beginner game. It's so hard to rationalize this stuff, Paul.
No, it is. It is. I went through the same thing where I'm like, I really want my son to love a Sierra game, but if I want him to like an adventure game, we're going to have to go Day of the Tentacle or something. And we did, and it worked. And then they banged through Sam and Max. But yeah, it's tough in that regard. But yeah, that's probably the perfect game for an 8-year-old to get into because it captures the spirit of adventure. And there's movies too where you could be like, all right, now this is your homework tonight. You gotta watch the movie and have a strong opinion on what your favorite is at the end.
It is the game. Well, the game got me into the movies, and then I was like the only one of my friends that were really into the movies, and I thought it was really cool because it actually gave my dad and I something we were both interested in together, watching Indiana Jones movies and stuff, which also in turn got me more into Sean Connery and some of his other movies and various other things. And it was great, all because of a game.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. This is stupid. On three, say your favorite Indiana Jones movie. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, Crusade. Nuts.
Oh, yeah. No, that won't work. I have to look up names. It's been like 20 years since I've watched any.
Okay, so ideally you would have said the opposite name that I did at the same time, and that would have been for maximum.
Oh, like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, exactly.
That probably would have been the one I would have said. So
if this was a recorded and edited medium, we could almost manipulate it to sound like that's what just happened.
We almost could, but we might have to cancel that whole thing because it just makes me look like an idiot. So there you go. Who's she talking like she likes the movies and she's watched them, but she doesn't know what her favorite one is? I'm like, what? The Indiana Jones one with Sean Connery that everybody watched that I really liked. And then I watched a bunch of other ones. That's my answer.
In your defense, there's 3 Indiana Jones movies, the asterisk mark, and like there's 2 of them, and then there's the one with Sean Connery. Like that's a fair way to split them up. I'm with you. All right. We have so many games in '92. Let's go to Darkseid. Did you play Darkseid? I did not.
No, nice cover though.
It is, right? Okay, so Darkseid was like a HR. I don't think I've said that out loud before. Geiger. Yeah. Geiger? Nope, Geiger. Okay, HR Giger?
Giger? I don't know. It's just like I know about a Giger reading. That's disappointing.
Yeah, all right. Well, listen, it's there's 2 of them, right? There's the second one and it's about old Mikey Dawson, as my Wikipedia page finally loads. A successful advertising executive this is sounding like I'm reading it from Wikipedia. All right. Well, listen. It's spooky. It's inspired by H.R. Geiger, who is, I think, behind Alien. But again, I am not a scholarly man. I'm not sure. It was Alien. Okay, Wikipedia's going. So if you like that cool, biomechanical kind of horror, like, pipes and tubes in and out of flesh and weird stuff.
Steampunk or other things or, something.
Yeah, like maybe, right? It could be.
Okay.
I've heard the Darkseid's really, really not just hard, but I believe I've heard it referred to as like illogical. And I hope if I'm wrong, correct me because I so could be. But I feel like I remember a few people saying it was like one of the better examples for like the worst kind of adventure game stuff. Just all the things that we don't like. But I hope I don't know. I shouldn't just be like, hey, it might be terrible. Like I don't want to put that into the world. I'm sorry, guys. It might be great because I could have heard that about any game, and I'm just mixing it up. So if you like the art style, play it.
Yeah, it's kind of like you could play the second Leather Goddess of Phobos. The first one was a text game, so they did a graphic adventure that was terribly rated, but I'd love to have a big box of, because, it's a sexy game, but that came out in that year.
Yeah, I've actually got the box for that. Like for some reason, I'm not really. It must have been like one of those it's too cheap not to buy kind of moments. But that game came on like 14 floppy disks. Like that box.
Jesus,
that box does weigh as much as like a small Chihuahua. It's a beefy one.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Leather Goddess of Phobos, again, having not played it, the vibe I get from it, combined with like its lack of actual controversy, is the fact that I don't feel like they committed to being like an adult game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm shooting from the hip here because I haven't played it, but I don't think that there's any nudity in it, and that's kind of what I mean. Where it's like, if we're gonna do this, let's just do it, because Larry's already done it. Like, it's already been established that there's that can be a thing. So I'm just saying, like, it would have been more fun if they just made it like, I guess, more true to itself, right? Because Leather Goddess of Phobos is a raunchy game, the first one, especially for the time. So it's like, if you're going to do it graphically, just go for it. Kids aren't playing it anyway.
No,
I mean, kind of nobody's
not
playing it, so maybe you should have.
Yeah, it's like, are you trying to be Space Quest, or are you, I don't know, what's it trying to be? I guess it really tried to go really sci-fi still, but more graphics and potential nudity, but no actual nudity, I think. Unless I'm wrong, like somebody that's actually played the game might know better.
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah, this is the fictional segment of the show. We just make things up for a while, but but I think that I don't know. Like that, your thing is being like raunchy and blah blah blah, like the first one was. So just, what happened? They took a good idea like the first one, and like, let's give it graphics, and then they made it for like prime time. They cut all the bad words. That's, again, that's fiction. They very well might not have, but it just feels super vanilla. But enough about things I don't know what I'm talking about. The audacity, honestly, for me to say it feels vanilla and have never played it. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody that's actually played it should definitely write in and correct us, or tell us we're entirely correct and well done. I mean, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, just 10 out of 10 going in blind. That would be amazing if we knocked it out of the park by accident. We've given you lots of disclaimers. That's us just saying words. It's nice to just cut free from the responsibilities of hosting and just make shit up for a minute. It's great.
Speaking of making shit up, another game I haven't played, but that I presume is at least a little bit sexy, is Rex Nebular and the Cosmic Gender Bender, which is another game that I believe got pretty terrible reviews back in the day.
Yes, I've not heard much positive about this, but I also haven't really heard much at all about it. It seems like one a lot of people skipped.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a real Roger Wilco vibe about Rex on the cover art. Like, it just it screams unoriginal to me. Like, it's as opposed to like, hey, we're allowed to do a game in space also and not have it automatically Space Quest. It looks more like, I think we'll sell this if it looks like Space Quest. Because it's just like, I mean, he's wearing, well, all right, in his defense, he actually, never mind. That was going to be one of the stupider things I ever said on this podcast. What was it? We'll never know. All right, I'll just say it. Yeah, I was going to say he's wearing a blue version of Roger's uniform, but in Space Quest 5, which, came out later.
Later.
Yeah, so Roger was actually wearing his. Doesn't matter. Listen.
Nobody's copying anybody here. Let's just move on.
Yeah, exactly. Play that if you want to. We didn't.
But yeah, it looks inconsistent. If I'm looking at screenshots, it does look a little inconsistent. The graphics from scene to scene seems like a kind of a bit of a mishmash. It's almost like a Lucas Arts-ish looking game as far as like the way you interact with it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm wondering if it's like a mashup of Zach McCracken and Space Quest. It's just, I don't know. It's giving me such a rippy-offy kind of vibe. And the plot sounds, that sounds fine. The bumbling bachelor Rex Nebula has been hired by Colonel Stone to retrieve a vase that holds sentimental value for a civilization, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow. I'm emotionally invested now.
For me, reading that was like just a charisma vacuum. It just, it just destroyed my motivation and it made me sad. But
pretty sure you just got this game on the nose too, so we can move on.
That'll do. All right. Again, never played it. Maybe it's great. All right. Next we got what I think is one of the most beautiful games, adventure games anyway, of all time, which is it's real wordy. The Lost Files of Sherlock Holmes, The Case of the Serrated Scalpel.
Yeah, my dad liked those games.
It's the only Sherlock Holmes game that has any appeal to me at all, basically. I think there was another Sherlock adventure game in 1992 called Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 2. And if you were to pull up a screenshot of that, I feel like you would, if you didn't have nostalgia for the game, and if you do, your defense right now is just, and I'm sorry. But if you don't, you would look at the picture of the screenshots and be like, oh yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
All right, what was the one I'm looking at? Consulting Detective? Wait.
Yeah, it's the first one in the list we're looking at, the first of the Sherlocks. Okay. But it's I don't know. It's definitely the FMV crowd will probably disagree because it's FMV, but it says 92, so like FMV in the sense that there's like short clips. So I don't know if that really counts as FMV or not.
Oh, the other one's nice. Serrated Scalpel is like the adventure game one. Okay, cool. I actually don't think I've played this one. Oh, it looks very pretty.
Yeah, this game's really just gorgeous. Like I to this day, I'd be hard pressed to find a better looking adventure game than the Serrated Scalpel. It's just incredible. And actually, Francisco Gonzalez of Grundislov Games pointed out on Twitter that this was the only game he had recollection of doing, going to the depths of having an entire act play out in a theater just in the background, just to be authentic, to be like, this is what would be happening right now, so we'll just go ahead and animate the whole thing, which is just crazy respectable. And I think it goes to show like the attention for detail this whole team had when they made this game. And it's a very like story-based game, which I think is really nice and often refreshing when it's more just like, especially if it's story-based, in the sense that like it's not very puzzly. It's it can be along for the ride kind of feeling.
And it's unfortunately not available on Steam or GOG. Is that correct?
Probably. Yeah.
It looks like it is not easily
You sound
found.
confident. Yeah.
Gee, I'm just looking around. Oh, there we go. It's on the wish list. Damn it.
Yeah, I hate that, right? I always get excited like a new thing got released.
Yeah, me too. Oh well. Yeah. Works on Scum VM, guys, so I'm sure y'all can figure it out.
Go buy a copy and then buy a floppy drive and then get some old software and then get the disk images and play it. Or
yes.
Or there is no or. That is the only way you'll ever play this. I wish I had a solution for you that took like 4 seconds and it's magically on your hard drive, but I don't. So yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, work on that.
Here's one. This is how I'm going to do a segue. Check this out. Here's one you can get for free. That was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. Is Lure the Temptress. Because ScumVM, speaking of Hannah, scumvm.org, head over there and you can download it because the creators voluntarily released the word for that. The copyright, the trademark, which is so cool of Revolution to do that. Revolution being the developers, which I think I'm right. I am. That's really cool of them. And they did the same thing for Beneath the Steel Sky. You can get the original, at least floppy version on ScumVM as well. Full games, not just, you can also get the demos, but not just the demo. And it's just cool of them to be like, you know, people still like these instead of holding on to the, you know, $12 a year we make. Let's just let it go to the community. And I'm sure thousands of more people, or at least hundreds, have played that because of that. So anyway, but yeah, Lower the Temptress. I've not played it. I've heard
it's a beautiful game. Kind of like the graphics are reminiscent. If I were to compare it to anything, I'm just looking at screenshots because I haven't played it. It's like almost like Golden Axe in some ways.
Yeah, it is a little bit. The sprites, especially these muscly dudes, little muscly boys.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I my memory is almost good enough to give you guys something specific on this game, but alas, I remember watching a YouTuber talking about what he didn't like about it, and it had something to do with a timing problem, like a logic problem in the programming, not some things like a DOSBox could fix. I think it had to do with a sidekick constantly showing up, it literally in your way. And not being able to open doors and stuff. But like to when I was watching his playthrough, it was to an almost unacceptable degree. Like it was more annoying than maybe I'm making it sound like what, he's just in the way, you move left and right and he's gone. But it was not like that. But I don't know. It's free, and I'd like to play it one day because Revolution makes good games. So I got faith in it.
I believe you.
Yeah. What do you uncover next? You got one?
Back in Wolfenstein 3D came out in 1992.
Yeah, that's a non-adventure game I love. So, you know, let's say words about that, right? It's
great. Nazis are bad, so this game is good.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And everybody likes, you know, killing Nazis. I mean, at least virtually.
I love how he gets beat up. I got such a kick out of the little icon of the guy in this game.
I really like the cheat codes. As a kid, like I was not into the notion of earning it. Like these games didn't hold my attention enough to be like, I'm going to earn this. Instead, I was like, I will hit all the cheat codes and play for 17 minutes a weekend. And especially Wolfenstein, and then probably Doom. But yeah. Just or Duke Nukem too. I did like that one for a while too. To be fair. But
I liked them all for a while, but like I don't keep coming back to them in my thoughts. But yeah, cheating and just blasting through and killing shit is good. I liked it.
Yeah, and as a young Jewish boy, I really enjoyed, you know, giving myself unlimited everything and killing Nazis. It was cathartic.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I heard it works for non-Jews too, you know?
Yeah.
People.
I have Jewish background in my family, father and stuff, grandfather. So, you know, it felt good for me too. But I bet it felt good for you, no matter what you listeners' backgrounds are.
Sure. She was actually looking right into the camera. You just didn't.
I pointed and everything. It was a thing.
There's no camera too. You're like, wait, is there a video version of this? There's no camera.
No, thank God.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this is the last one I've played. And hey, we're gonna come back and do a non-adventure game in a minute, probably, like, right? Because we should do that. But in the meantime, I'm running low on the ones that I've played on this list, so I'm just gonna dip back into that real quick. And I don't believe you played this one, Anna, but it's The Legend of Kyrandia. I'm having a stroke.
I always used to say Kyrandia, but I think somebody corrected me and said that I was incorrect, but I don't remember how. Kyrandia
or Key? Why would it be Key? Kyrandia. There's no R before the Y.
I don't know, because
I think we're overcomplicating it. Kyrandia. Sorry, I think I'm overcomplicating. I didn't mean to drag you into this.
Sorry. I'm an accomplice just by being here, so it's all right.
This is, a lot of people love this game, so I'll just keep this brief because I did not. It's it's one of the most beautiful games ever made. I know I just said that, beating this phrase to death with Sherlock Holmes a second ago, but like this might even be better. I think this one's more like popularly regarded as, you know, something you couldn't argue is probably, if somebody said it was the best, you'd be like, yeah, fair enough, because it's peak. It is peak pixel art. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's gorgeous enough to have kept me playing it, even though I was having just no fun at all. It's there's a maze in this game that lasts, you know, years. Like, it's just the entire second act is basically a maze, and like it's not even lit. You have to like you have to take berries with you and plot them out, because if the berries aren't lit and you walk into a dark room, then you get killed. So it's not just a gigantic maze, and it's almost like they took the idea of like a fast travel map, you know, like because the maze is kind of the central of the area, and you use different routes in the maze to get different places. It's almost like the idea of like taking a fast travel map with your destinations marked on them and being like, hey, let's make it just crazy difficult for them to get to the destinations, because that's how it feels. It's so. I don't know. I'm not original in having like a mini thought rant thing on mazes, but like at least understand, if you're gonna use a maze, just understand that you're doing it to like make the game run longer or something, with some self-awareness. Yeah. Don't kid yourself into thinking it's for the player's enjoyment at all. And so anyway, I kind of don't get why it's so well regarded, when the real reality is that you spend. All right, let me try not to exaggerate, because I exaggerate all the time, because frankly it's really fun. But without exaggerating, I'd say you spend at least 30% of the game in the maze.
Man, I'm already sweating.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my little rant. But otherwise, it's totally gorgeous, and I liked it. I liked it because, you know what? To be fair, I got a walkthrough like 20 minutes into the maze, and it still took hours with the walkthrough, because walkthroughs only go so far with mazes, right? Like, it's, you know, but with the walkthrough, the maze becomes kind of bearable, still super annoying, and then the game as a whole is worth it. Like, it's well written, it's well done. I would play it as opposed to not, but dear God, just, you know, I wish somebody warned me about the maze. All right, then that's what I'm doing for you. So, okay, next, we're good. I'm done.
We're good.
Sorry for yelling.
No, that's good. No, it's a pretty game. Yeah, I've seen it streamed. It's really quite something to see. Yeah,
it was gorgeous.
All
right, here's one we both played. We've both played. Putt Putt Joins the Parade. Have we not?
Nice. Yes, we definitely have. Well, I mean, I wasn't like, oh my God, there's these putt-putt games. Here I am, a grown-up. I need to rush out and get them. But I had a child, and I was like, oh my God, here's this putt-putt game. And I was talking to Paul briefly about it before the episode, but the games from Humongous Entertainment, kind of like these kids ones, were all like set for age groups. So the putt-putt games were great. They were all kind of done in the order of easiest to hardest when you were looking at Humongous Entertainment as a whole, as far as like that little series of game goes. So, you know, your kid is new to that stuff. You've got your putt-putt and your Freddy Fish. Actually, yeah, I think I'm going to put it in that order. Putt-putt and Freddy Fish are kind of the easiest. And then you're getting into Pajama Sam, which is a little bit more difficult. And then you get into Spy Fox, there's a little bit more trouble shooting and some math and stuff. But yeah, the putt-putt games were great. And Putt-putt Joins the Parade was the first one of the little series.
It was, and I would also like to talk around it, but not about the specific game, because my biggest standout is just having to admit that I actually had to look up an answer or two on one of the Pajama Sam games with Stromer, because I'm not good at these games. I just enjoy them. I definitely needed some help. I think in my defense, part of it was also feeling rushed to keep his attention, but still, like, you know, I had a little trouble there with Thunder and Lightning aren't always frightening. It's just a doozy of a puzzle. But anyway, Putt-putt is fine. It's the one that my son doesn't like, so I don't know.
Yeah. It was the first one, and he's like a car, and he's like a little kid, and he has a dog, ruff, ruff, and he's sitting in the back, and you kind of have to use your car in conjunction with your dog and the world to accomplish tasks and figure out puzzles. So it's cute. It's fine. Like, it's not
Yeah.
as good as Pajama Sam. It's better than Freddy Fish, and it's easier than Spy Fox.
Yeah, exactly. But don't rush out to. Personally, I think Pajama Sam is the strongest of them all.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
like I had a good time with that. It's like when you go to a good kids movie where it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't have gone myself, and I'm not going to say it's a good movie, but I didn't mind sitting through it. Like the Pajama
Mhm.
Sam, it's in that pocket.
Yeah, right in that middle age group. I'm not quite old enough for Spy Fox yet. Those ones were too hard. But Pajama Sam is right in the middle, and I'm like, I'm right there. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's a good way to feel really smart if like nobody told you it was a kid's game, because it's not that easy. It would just be easy enough to feel like you're nailing it.
Exactly. No, worth playing. Check it out, especially if you have a kid, or only if you have a kid, maybe. But good games.
It is, and I think adventure games are genuinely good for kids. Obviously, moderation and disclaimers and whatever. But I really like watching my son play those games because you can see him. He's learning like how to think instead of what to think, and it's cool to watch that. School is important and blah blah blah. But it's easy for kids to be told what to think, so it's nice to see them sit down and learn how to. So that's my oddly sincere PSA for the episode. Okay, I got another game that came out this year that I really do want to play. I don't think I've said that about a game yet. I've either been like, I just haven't, or here's the deal. Is Star Trek 25th Anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Really want to play this game. I've wanted to play it for a while, and I haven't had a chance to, but it's just, it's really cool. I mean, I'm a big sci-fi kind of person. I favor sci-fi heavily over fantasy, let's say. Had a lot of like just bloody King Arthur and Camelot, a lot of round tables and sharp knife stories and forests and just a lot of that in like children's stuff growing up. So I'm kind of like good on that. I'd rather do the space thing. But but this game looks really cool. Like it's just it encapsulates like the era of the time. Like I feel like I've played it even though I haven't.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful game that I've also never played, and I think I have a book or I have some documentation from the game, but I don't think I actually have the big box from this one. I didn't play it, didn't even know about it really. I wouldn't have, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have even known it was an adventure game. Like it doesn't exactly make that obvious, on the front. So.
No, it doesn't, and I know there's a fair amount of time spent on bloody deck or whatever. But like most of the screenshots, even now, just a quick Google shows you in the captain's chair. But a large part of the game, from what I understand, because I did read up on this one before we recorded. From what I understand, there's at least half of the rest of the game is more open. Walking around to more typical adventure game. But you're right, like they don't kind of advertise it that way as a traditional point and click game, which it is. But yeah, I want to get tucked into that. The Judgment Right's not in 92, but the other Star Trek game also looks really cool. So need to get into that one day.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I think if I jump onto consoles for a second, 3 games would stick out to me right away. That'd be Final Fantasy V, Super Mario Kart, and Sonic 2. So Final Fantasy V I didn't play until a year or two ago. It was actually really tricky. I got a little bit bogged down in having to train up so many different types of character classes. So I'm like, okay, I have this person ready as a white mage, but now I got to train him as something else. So that was a little bit much. Mario Kart is always fun. We still play it. I still have the game. And Sonic 2, I have it on my phone. It's fun. I also have it on the Sega too, but I don't pull out the Sega as often.
As one wouldn't, because it's, on your phone.
Exactly. Have you played any of those 3, Paul?
All of them, yes. And I won't complain about any of them, except for the first one, which I think I forgot. What was the first one?
Final Fantasy V.
Yep, that's why I forgot it. I tune out whenever somebody says Final Fantasy. And I have nothing against it because I've never played it. Like I sincerely don't want to. Sincerely, this time, don't want to offend anybody because I've just never played it. But for my like brain and taste or whatever, I just when I see games that look like that or hear certain game names like it, I just tune out. I just don't. I'm good. maybe I'm missing out on the love of my life, and I'll never know. But that's your sweet revenge for me saying this stuff.
Oh, maybe. I mean, the first one of those like I ever really got into was Final Fantasy VII, I think. And I think it was because it was hyped up. I mean, it was the first really North Americanized Final Fantasy game, but it didn't come out in 92, I think. So it was 5, which is the one we were talking about.
Yeah, which is the 5th one.
Yes. Go, Paul. All right, you've played Mario Kart? When did you play Mario Kart?
I played Mario Kart last week, but it was the new one on the Wii. But the old one I did play probably the most.
The new one on the Wii.
Yes, I slipped that in there.
Nice.
No, the weird secret side of me that never comes out on the podcast is that I secretly love MotoGP, which is motorcycle road racing, and so I do play a lot of motorcycle racing games. I just never talk about them because Anna and Rick don't care, which is fair enough. I get it. I don't know why I got into it, but I did, and like I get that it's it's not interesting if they're not into it. I'm not gonna like knock on your door and tell you about the good word. It's just fine. It's just a weird thing I like. So anyway, I do tend to get stuck into racing games, which is generous to call Mario Kart, but I mean at its core. And so, maybe one day we could do like an episode and cover like, Road Rash and I went right to the bike one, the bloody Outrun and what's the Need for Speed. We should one day do I don't know. You're saying like I don't.
No, I mean I love Need for Speed. I love Hot Pursuit and High Stakes, and I used to be really really good at Need for Speed 2, this side by side, head to head racing and stuff too. So no, I totally would do an episode on those games. I love them. Okay. I'm going but I'm totally here. Yes.
Awesome. It reminds me of Twisted Metal for some reason. There's a box truck outside.
Oh, I need to play that one too. I think I have a small box or something, or I have some version of that game around somewhere.
That was so much fun. All right, sorry. What were we talking about that wasn't Twisted Metal and racing games? Mario Kart. Yeah,
Mario Kart. It's good, and Sonic 2. You've played that, so.
Yeah, exactly. That was probably the last Sonic I loved.
Yeah,
like I think I stopped caring after that.
There was I like the other one because it was like Sonic, and I like the one with Sonic and Knuckles, and you could like climb walls. That was kind of fun.
I didn't make it there. I'm not saying it's bad. I just I think I had broken my console or lost interest by that point. Not like in a rage. I break things off, and I'm again not in a rage. I'm just irresponsible, unorganized person. So things.
Yeah, no. That happens. I broke at least 2 different things on the weekend alone. So
yeah, I didn't realize like you can't just say I broke my Sega. Like it definitely is going to sound like a gamer ragey thing if you don't correct that. I mean, it might. Okay. Anyway, another quick point I wanted to make because I'm just shoehorning this in now because I'll probably forget it. So I'm just going to say it is looking at the year of 92 in adventure games. It's really clear that this was like the big boom of like the second tier brands coming to the front, the not Sierra and LucasArts. Like it really seems like this year you've got Darkseid, KGB, Amazon Guardians. Leather Goddesses gets a pass. That's Infocom. I mean, they weren't graphic, but they were there first. And then you got like the Lost Files of Sherlock Holmes, the really good looking one, which is from EA of all people. There was Ringworld Revenge of something, the Patriarch, I believe. Curse of Enchantia, that's the one that gets a lot of love from those who've played it. Bargain Attack. There's just a lot of like a lot of companies that I think were just like, oh, there's money in adventure games right now, so let's let's make one. And there's just all these bizarre, again, like second tier brand names or brand companies with less experience, let's say, making them pop into the fore and making some hits and misses. Some are good. I mean, there's KGB with none other than Donald Sutherland. He's the bloody darling of the Sutherland family.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones. Yeah.
I will say I've got the Ringworld Revenge of the Patriarch big box. I've not played it. That one gets. I think that one is like unarguably terrible. I've never heard anything good about it. Like that.
I've never even heard of it until we started talking about it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, just let yourself quickly forget it soon after, because it's apparently...
Oh, geez. Floating animal heads in the sky. What the hell is happening here?
Yeah, it's based on the Ring World books by Larry Niven.
I've heard of the book.
Probably Niven. But, that's what I was going to say. The big box actually came with the book. So that was like a legit 8-pound box, because that's the theme of the episode. You know, Pee Wee Herman kind of scream. I'm not doing it. I'm not committing to the scream, but yeah, it came, obviously with the with the 9 floppy disks, and then just a thick old novel.
Wow,
I've engaged with neither. Yeah, yeah. And all right, I think I wore myself out. I'm done. Do you want to talk about not more non-adventure stuff? Let's do one more non-adventure.
Yeah. Well, hang on. What one came out? Did Dune 1 come out in 92? Let's see. Oh, okay. Dune came out in 1992. That's one dimension, because A, I'm playing it right now on recommendation from Rick, and B, I just got the book that goes with the Dune as well. So.
Oh, that's right. I agreed to play that too. That was homework for a thing. You know, I'm just tapping my nose. You know, this is for a thing for the show, maybe. All right.
Yes, maybe. So, but anyways, good game. It also came out in 1992. And and it's a game where you basically mine for spice and then do like sort of like adventure like text-based interactions, and you get to walk around to different areas, and the graphics are beautiful as long as you love 92 graphics, which I do. So
I think he's using our love for Gold Rush against us. He's like, oh, you like mining? All right, go mine for bloody spice then for 4 hours in the desert.
Right. There's a lot of spice mining. It's definitely all about the spice. It's kind of neat. I guess it's a lot more strategy than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not making it any easier for you to want to play it, am I?
Oh boy! All right.
And Mortal Kombat 1, which was we all loved because you got to do finishing moves. That was also 92.
Yes, I told tell of how when we played Street Fighter 2, probably the last year we covered, doesn't matter, and how I just would choose blanket because you could just smash the B button or the left button and electrocute people if they jumped on you. And I kind of did the same thing with Mortal Kombat, where I just picked Sub-Zero and got down the little bottom. I don't know, by muscle memory. If I'm probably wrong, it feels like down, up, and a button.
Yeah, down, up button. Just quick down, up. I can feel my sweaty finger rolling across the keypad as we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sliding between the all scaly and slithery. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's a point where it's helpful, but then it's a point where it's too much. You got to wipe it off to eat your snack and then wipe it off again and then go back. So
that's the problem. The snack lubricates the situation. So all of a sudden you got grease in your finger, and the grease from the chips are hydroplaning.
That's right. Exactly. You're licking your fingers. It's just making things worse. It's just, the 90s were great.
Yeah. Gross. Yeah. But yeah, Mortal Kombat's great. I'm glad that, is there any, there is another one. I was going to say, let's make sure we say all the things that we could get yelled about for not saying, because there's a few games, if you don't say them, it's like, and I get it, because, sometimes I'll listen to shows or watch a YouTube video because I'm like, I just want to see the my thing in the list. Like, I can't wait till they mention the thing I like. And if they don't, it's a bummer. So I get it. So we're going to try and cover this. So there's two I'm going to cover real quick. One is, I think, more like cult classic, which is weird because this whole genre is pretty niche to begin with, but the Journeyman Project. That's a game that gets a lot of love. And if you are a fan of the Journeyman Project, which I feel like was like a Mac game before anything else, I could be wrong about that. Doesn't matter. If you're a fan of it, I know that the new version of Scum VM, which is you can get now in like a daily build, but it'll be officially released really soon. Will support Journeyman Project, which is cool. And then we've got to mention, and this is actually Anna's doing, because I wouldn't have even thought of it. She asked me about this before the show, so I'm saying it for you, is Alone in the Dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was a surprisingly good game for its time that I think you and Rick have chatted about before, but good game.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Oh, and I love how in the big box it comes with that little tiny chunky book. It's got this little tiny and it's just so adorable. It's the cutest book. It's you know what I mean. Some of you know what I mean.
Yeah, I never had the big box maybe I did, but my dad traded it in. But I do remember playing it.
Yeah, I used to take the book with me to school.
Aww.
Yeah, because I feel like as a kid, you always needed that one little fidget thing. Obviously pre-smartphones, so you needed something to do when you had a second to not be paying attention, and that was my thing for a week. What a nice story. All right.
That's very cute. Oh, what about Spellcasting 301? I have the big box for 101 and 201, but not 301, which is again kind of like a text game, but with more.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Right. Okay. So it's just like the first two, really, in that sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nothing against those two. I like the idea of them. I just never played one.
They're hard. They're really hard. Look at all those adjectives and verbs and yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a big list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm just gonna say things now in case you missed anything. Gateway Inca, which was published by Sierra, and it's just 3D before they had any business selling a 3D game. It shouldn't have cost money. It's
so true. Just no.
Oof. Well, yeah. All right, it doesn't matter. It's in the game's defense. It's not that 3D. I think I was thinking of a different game. But there are a few scenes where they commit to it, and it's the
cutscenes probably that you're thinking about, maybe.
Okay, it's like mixed with live action, so just the worst green screen in front of the worst 3D. Didn't age well. Is the moral of that story. Okay, next, because I'm almost done. There's Nightshade, Plan 9.
No, it is 3D. Yeah, it's. Yeah, the cutscenes and stuff. I'm sorry, right. I'm back behind you here. But no, it's what I remember. It's weirdly 3D in a weird way, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost confidence in myself at some point. So I'm glad you stepped in.
There.
Like, all right.
Yeah, you're there.
There's Bargain Attack. That looks really interesting. I'm kind of into it. It's a cyberpunk game. It's done by Cocktail, people who did Goblins and Fascination and surprising amount of other ones.
Emmanuel.
Thank you. Yes, that was exactly what I wanted. But it looks cool. It looks different. It's definitely a little cyberpunky. The graphics are almost like a little console-y. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I'll say on this. Goblins 2. I think we're done here. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good overview of the year. What about you? What games did you enjoy from 1992? And I will be out there on Facebook and Instagram and probably on Twitter, and we're going to be asking you that question. So I'm hoping that some of you are going to bring up games we didn't bother to mention, forgot about, or didn't spend enough time talking about.
Yeah, that was so smooth. I thought you asked me that, and I'm like, dude, I just spent a sizable amount of time explaining to you. All right. But yeah, I ruined it, but sorry, it really caught me off guard. Well done. So so I'm just gonna, sorry about this, everyone. I really ruined a good thing. All right, buddy, come join the discussion, join the community on Facebook with the Classic Gamers Guild. Come say hello on Facebook. It's a really fun community. It's a lot of really nice people. So, you know the deal. Just you go to the thing and you find Classic Gamers Guild. It's going to be a theme that you'll notice as I go forward. It's a lot of go to the place and find us. So Instagram at CGG Podcast, at Twitter, do us a tweet, say hello at CGG Podcast. Send us an email if you like, mail at Classic Gamers Guild. Love getting your emails. Sincerely, it's downright exciting. In kind of that like little woo, like you make a little effeminate noise, like all right, I'm gonna regret that. I'm gonna regret that. Okay, so buddy, become a Patreon if you want. Yeah, that sounded bossy at first, but just become a Patreon if you want to. That'd be awesome. But most importantly is the thank you to those who are Patrons. We really, really appreciate you guys, and we love you and thank you. It means a lot. It really does. And morally speaking too, where it's like, all right, They think it's good enough. So that's awesome. We love you guys. And then special thanks to those in the extra special thanks tier, which is Una and Gus, Jay Holmes, and Mark Fillion. Love you guys. I hope you're still in the special thanks tier, because honestly, I haven't looked at it in a week or two. If one of you is not, suddenly we get it, and we still love you. Check out Mark Fillion's game, Chinatown Detective Agency, on Steam. You can download the demo, but please at least wishlist it. While you're there, everybody wishlist our game, Phantom Fellows. That would mean a lot to us too. I know it's a very needy part of the show, but this is where, this is the checks and balances. This is the price. So thank you. Thank you for listening, and don't do murder.